The Inglis Nursery.
Jesus.
Standard bearer, $5, $8 chasing Charlie.
You had to cop this all year off here.
Oh, mate, don't worry, he's had his moments. Furza, $4.60. $5 Sweet Kiss. Blue Palace, $6. $6 Sunshine Royale, $7.50 Twilight Royale. And $15 Raego, the reserve.
Oh, you can start.
Yeah, I'll start. Not a real bet race for me, but I watched that race from Melbourne at Caulfield there on December 12th. It was a race won by a horse called Kiss a Rose. If you haven't seen it, she came from last to win. I wouldn't be surprised if she's one of the most impressive 2-year-olds we've seen this season. Moody horse. The stable elected, I think they've basically already said they're not going to the Magic Millions when she's eligible. So that tells me they've got a huge opinion of her. They're heading towards Blue Diamonds and then possibly Golden Slippers. Well, the third horse in that race was Blue Palace, and it should have finished right on its heels, at worst. It should have been right there. It had no luck, got back, charged home. I reckon Kiss a Rose and Blue Palace are both above average, and I'd prefer to go with that form than a Newcastle maiden form race, as in the favourite, which is
Well, they're
Sweet
vying
Kiss.
for favouritism, aren't they?
Yeah, well, it's still $6 Blue Palace,
Yeah.
but she handles the Sydney way going. I think she'll be proved to be better than those,
Yeah.
especially with the run under her belt. She'll have improved from
And
it.
sticking with your Hayes theme there. which is
Well,
good.
it's not a theme. It wasn't by design, but it's a race that I pegged when I watched it, because I actually had to write a story, Brad being on leave, about it.
Yeah.
And when I watched it, when they hit the line, I thought that's a good form race, that.
Yeah.
Because the winner goes good. You don't see 2-year-olds come from last out off the middle of the track, and it just picked them up. And as I said, Blue Palace should have been right with it.
All right. Well, this is the only race of the day I won't be betting up, but I'll be taking 4 of them in the Quinellas and tries. I like the 2 first starters of Bjorn Baker's. I thought they both trialled really well, Furza and Twilight Royale, leaning towards Twilight Royale off the trials. And of the 2 race ones, I'm with you, Blue Palace. But I think Sweet Kiss will lead them over 1,000, and that's always hard to catch. So I'm going to throw it in as well.
It'll be high pressure
she's got
races.
Plenty of toe.
Some of these first starters, don't worry. Albert Stableford setting a first starter. He's got priors with things like this. It will be able to run.
They'll go far. They'll go fast.
You know,
but over 1,000 metres, they always go fast, really, don't they?
That's right.
So my numbers there, the 2 first starters are 4 and 14, and the 2 race ones are 10 and 11.
Yep.
So mix them around in your Quinellas.
Number 4 for me, Furza. Without
trial.
doubt. Good trial. The second trial particularly showed a significant improvement. In saying that, the first trial was behind that Le Cordon Bleu and Passali. Here we go.
You enjoyed that night at the French restaurant, didn't you?
Yeah.
He doesn't like you speaking other languages. It's
No.
too confusing.
Le Cordon Bleu.
Yeah.
Mate, I'm just a simple bloke.
No, simple bloke from Warrenora. We know. You don't expand your wings too much. Only go over those French froggies.
No.
Can't be starting that.
He likes his
exactly
snails when we go there, though.
Oh, I
He eats
enjoy my
his
snails.
Yeah.
I love dipping the bread in the garlic that gets left behind. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's good.
Number 4.
We
That'll
bumped
be me.
into the great Max Presnell there.
Really?
Yeah.
We'll get you over for the L'Arc de Triomphe one day, big fella.
What's the go with the Anthony's horse as well? It's an emergency. Rahigo.
Yep.
Yeah, what about it?
Have you
Oh,
had
look,
much
I
look?
trialled 3 days ago and it was green as grass all over the track. So, doesn't mean it can't win because Anthony can do this. But,
No.
You know, I couldn't back it.
No.
All right.
All right.
Safely held in its trial.
Blue Palace for me.
Yep.
Yeah, Furza.
Further unboxing the 4 of them.
All right. Race 4. What's this? The Schweppes benchmark handicap. River of Salvation, $7.50, $11 Barrett, Shanghai Bun, 12, The Owl, $6.50, Art Though Ready, 10, Startruce, 10, $2.20 Baltra. Yeah. Go on.
Who's taking 220 Belter here? Has anyone gone
Please.
through and had a look at its wins at Wagga and
Mate,
whatever else has
I
been?
looked at it and thought, okay, it's been impressive, but gee whiz, it's Wagga form. I can't say I've ever heard of Quarter Hennessy or Leighton Newitt.
Leighton Hewitt. Yeah, I've heard of Leighton Hewitt. You see him win every now and again on a
Leighton Hewitt.
Friday.
Yeah, but that was about 20 years ago.
Oh, yeah, that was that Leighton Hewitt. No, but you do, if you're ever watching the Wagga races or Canberra, you often hear Leighton Hewitt punch around there, but I don't think he's any superstar, to be honest.
Yeah, look, I wouldn't be backing that. I might have $1 each way Startruce here. All right. For some unknown reason, to my opinion, for some unknown reason, they've tried to. This horse, as a young 2-year-old, was just a jump and run 2-year-old. Looked like it had something. And they wanted to ride it quiet all the time. Well, that was just a recipe for disaster. But leading into its last run, first up off the spell, they decided they'd give it its head in the trial. And Stratford ran it down, but it was more the Chartreuse that I thought he could have been.
Yep.
The only other problem with him is he can miss the start,
Well,
which he
that's it.
did first
Yeah,
up.
look.
But look, I'm going to bank at $10. I'm going to have a gamble just to say he'll get away with them, and they're going to give him his head and let him roll.
Yep.
I think he'll take some beating here if they do, because this is a plain race.
I agree with you 100% about what Chartreuse could do if it pings the lids, because
At $10,
the favourite's drawn outside it. Belcher's drawn the 11, Chartreuse has drawn the 10. And I reckon if Chartreuse pings the lids, it'll be the one that actually leads, whereas everyone will have Belcher just coming across and taking up the running. So if Chartreuse does ping the lids and lead, it's going to throw this race wide open, I reckon.
Yeah.
Fly in the
Because,
ointment.
no one will expect it, apart from you've found it, but off the trial, I agree, they'll definitely try and lead on it if it jumps.
well, they've never trialled it like that, so
No.
that tells me they're
Yeah.
intending to race it like that. I wasn't.
And
I wasn't at
it's
Canterbury.
It's drawn wide, and there's not much speed in the race apart from Belcher. So
Yeah.
I'm with you. I reckon Chartreuse will lead this field, and will take a heap of catching if it does.
So I don't know if there was any change of tactics at Canterbury announced. I wasn't there.
No, but it did miss the kick. It would have
Yeah.
let him have missed the kick. He tried to dig it up once it missed the kick, but it was too late. But I'll tell you what I will do here. I will just back the owl each way at 650.
Oh, that's
If this happens and they do go hard in front, it's going to sit third, fourth defence tagging them.
Yeah.
And if they go slow in front, it's still going to be third or fourth tagging the favourite. So each way 650. Its first up win was terrific off a good trial. And it's Peter Snowden at Warwick Farm. I think it's over the odds at 650.
Him and Kieran have got a good record at Warwick Farm, obviously, yeah. Good strike rate. I had the same thing, mate. I thought the owl as well each way was great. By reset out of a Saddler's Wells mare, get the impression it'll probably improve a fair
Who
bit.
cares?
I do. That's who. And the punters.
Reset.
Okay.
You like
Well-
reset, yeah?
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, it typically will probably show some improvement from it, you know,
Okay,
as
fair
it gets a
call.
bit older. Like, it could be a developing horse.
He's always been one of those horses that's promised to go up a notch, hasn't he?
Yeah.
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 And look, it's sort of one of those things. If it was the favourite for the race, you might bet around him, but he's
he's
not.
not,
You're getting
yeah.
a price on him, and like Pa said, he could get the right run. But that favourite that your man Robles on, mate, they ran 108.73 down at Wagga for the 1200. That's pretty good going.
Yeah, look, the fact that he's won his last two by 5.5 and 5.5, and the
Yeah.
last one was an open handicap.
Yeah, but it's a tarmac
But,
sometimes,
yeah.
Wagga.
And,
Yeah, I
and
was-
Leighton Hewitt ran second, so as Clinton said, no one's...
Mate,
no
well, I
one's
don't know
really
if that
heard of
horse
him.
is
Yeah.
going to measure up, but I'm not going to take
Yeah.
220 to find out.
No,
He's
no,
obviously
no.
above average.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
A horse
Yeah,
out of
yeah.
coming out of the area. He's
the
won his
sort of
last
horse
two.
You'd imagine he's going to open at 220, and by the time he jumps,
Right.
you know,
$5.
he'll get the blows, won't he?
Well, you would think so. It's just seems very short. And he might come out and win by 2 lengths.
He might.
That wouldn't surprise.
He might.
But I'm not taking that
He
price.
might. I'm with you, and it's not a quaddy leg, so
Yeah.
I'm just the L each way for me.
All right. English handicap, 2100 metres, race 5. Brightest
There you go.
$10. Lacripidus 6. Court Connection 650. Kirky.
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 No, you know why I've said that? My cousin's daughter. I used to call her Kirky. Cuckery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not that you're dyslexic.
$10. Angelus, $10. Fortune 500, $4. Retort Courteous 850. That'll do us.
Now, is Fortune 500 the same horse that went down to Melbourne after getting beaten in the worst maiden ever seen at Newcastle on a Sunday?
Yeah.
Is that it? It couldn't be the same horse.
It is the same
It
horse,
was
mate.
really-
Won by 4.3 at its next start at Moonee Valley. Then went to Caulfield, won by 4.8.
Surely not. I saw the form. I said, no, it can't be. I thought, must have got it confused, but that is that horse.
It did run second, sort of the preparation before,
Yeah.
beating the length by Scream
Screen machine.
So.
Yep.
All right, what are you
I
up
was
to,
on it
boys,
that day.
Nick?
Fortune 500.
You're on 60
Yeah,
with it?
yeah. Screen Machine's one of my horses.
Didn't you hit the jackpot there last week? Hey,
Haven't spoken about that yet, have
your
we?
jockey and your trainer weren't helping you. Mate, I can't believe that people actually think that protest should have been dismissed. I cannot believe it.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, and the other thing I can't believe is the jockey and trainer didn't think that the interference at the point of the home turn warranted throwing a protest in against. That was interference that was just going to pick them up the race.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, you don't want to race them in lanes, but they've got to go straight. If they're not 2 lengths clear, they can't cross or take a horse's running.
Yeah.
And Roble did it twice to her.
Yeah. He did.
You know, if he hadn't have done it the first one, everyone says, oh, you can't have a protest upheld from out there. But if he didn't do it the first time, she's where he was in the run. He showed that he was going to get the split and hit the line first. So Scream Machine hit the line better than it. Well, why wouldn't it have won?
Oh, I think everyone agrees Scream Machine should have won the race.
Yeah, well,
but the question was, missed the start by 4 lengths. Well, that's no one's fault but Scream Machine.
Yes, no. Well, it wasn't Scream Machines. It was actually the barrier attendants.
Yeah, but look, let's face Scream Machine. He's another horse too that overreacts to everything. He always has. So, how bad was that interference at the first turn? You're not going to really know.
Well, he shut the door on him, mate. I've seen the head on. Not many people have seen the head on footage.
But I'm saying most horses, 9 out of 10 horses, when that happened, they'd just half ease, the horse would slot in, and everyone would keep running. But
she didn't want to ease.
Scream Machine overreacts.
Hang on a sec. That's irrelevant because she didn't want to ease. She wanted that spot. Roble cut her in half.
I know that. I'm not saying. I agree with you. I would have probably upheld the protest too if it had been lodged on both grounds.
I thought it was a no-brainer.
Yeah. But it wasn't lodged on both.
Well, the race net poll was pretty 50-50 if you have a look.
Yeah, it was.
It was. Stewart's lodged a protest for the second bit of interference.
For the coin.
And they're actually giving the verdict nowadays to the horse that's the victim, aren't they?
Well, so they should be.
No, I'm not saying, I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying, geez, he's getting fired up.
Half
a can of beer, he's on fire.
Hang on a moment. All I'm saying is, imagine if the protest was dismissed, then they get Roble in after the last and he pleads guilty to 2 cases of careless riding. Well, why should Scream Machines connections and punters be punished for that?
Yeah.
You know, and
no,
with due respect...
It was all really about that second part of the protest that was a bit smelly for everyone because they hadn't lodged it when they knew that they'd seen it, you know.
But
so that was
stewards don't have to lodge a protest until correct weight. Stewards can lodge a protest. People need to read the rules.
Yeah.
Stewards can lodge a protest at any time up until correct weight.
I know they can, but then you've got other people who say stewards aren't allowed to sit in on the protest if they've lodged it. So who was going to sit and listen to it if the whole lot of them lodged it?
How was the stewards room?
Well, you were there. Who lodged it?
Right. No one knows who actually lodged it. Ray announced it.
Kathy's got a good record in the stewards room as well.
Everyone sat in it.
But who lodged it?
Well, we don't know.
Well, whoever lodged it's not supposed to sit in on.
Well, that's a different issue to me. Right,
that's a good point.
That's fair enough.
Someone got something wrong somewhere.
That's fair enough, but that's a different issue. But at the end of the day, stewards had the right to lodge the.
Yep. Look, I've got no problem with the result. I reckon it was a 50-50 and it had to land one way, and they landed the way they went.
The only thing is with general public's comments on those sort of issues, one, they don't have all the evidence, right? They haven't sat in on an inquiry and watched all the footage, and there's going to be a high percentage of them talking through their kick.
It's still important to know what they think, though, don't you think?
Look, it is to an extent, but...
Because that's the industry.
What I'm saying to you is, are they making an informed comment on the subject?
No, well, they're just making anyone's opinion.
I understand that, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I didn't have a bet in the race. Right? I didn't have a bet. I didn't have a bet, so I wasn't aligned to either party in that steward's room. But when I saw the footage for the first time, right, when Kathy and Jason were watching it to see what they were going to protest about, to me it was an absolute no-brainer that had to be upheld.
I'm glad. When I heard it was a protest and I had something on, I just remember back to that day that Kathy had the protest with Blake,
Mr. Edison,
and she rocked up into the steward's room and
Another thing?
She was in a pink singlet and everyone just said, well, this is 1,001 for Blake.
The other thing, very quickly, there's just been another thing floated during the week that jockeys and trainers shouldn't give evidence in there. The stewards just to make a decision. Well, I'll tell you what, this was another example as to why some jockeys and trainers you're better off having in your corner than others, because Chris Waller dead set pulled their pants down that inquiry.
Well, whose pants down?
Well, you couldn't have put them down too much.
Well, no, but what I'm saying is, I don't think it made any difference. Right, what people had to say. I think the stewards have made their decision.
But he was more articulate.
But what I'm saying is, you listen to different people making comments in those inquiries. Some people handle themselves well, and some people need a lot of training.
Well, look at Mark Newnham. He goes in with Gaze that time. I remember he was in there one day. That Wild and Proud protest last year.
Anyway, let's move on.
All right, Fortune 500 was a maiden till 2 starts back, won them both by 4.5 or thereabouts. I've actually been following this horse most of its career, so I'll stick with it.
Well, look, for me, it's just a very, very open race, as you'd expect. The market suggests that. I thought Kukri's form's pretty good when you go through it.
Kirky.
Considering it ran second to Cannonese and put 4 lengths on the third horse last time.
Yep.
Well, Cannonese has only franked that form since. He's the best stayer we've got going around here at the moment. So on that form line, I'll go with Kukri. He's betting about, what, $8 or $9. Probably a decent bet there.
He gave weight to Cannonese that day.
Yeah, so I've got to have him. Retort Courteous, I think, is going terrific. Been top 2 at his last 4 starts. And Georgie Aeroplane's been unlucky at his last 2 starts, and it's big odds. So I'll play those 3, 6, 9 and 11. But, you know, I could well miss out there. Anything could happen here.
Renton Court Connection's ready to go on with it now. Dominant win there at Canterbury last start. Drops in weight. Bowman stays aboard. That's good enough for me. 650. But it's not a race I'm overly interested in.
Go wide in the quaddie there, boys.
Yeah.
First leg.
think
You'd
so,
have to,
wouldn't
wouldn't you? You'd have to at least take
course you
5.
could.
You'd have to take 5 minimum.
How many are you going to take in the Villiers?
You probably got to chuck that.
Villiers, yeah, I'll go wide in the Villiers too.
You're right. Do we need
I was gonna
pause
say-
for a toilet break or anything?
I was going to say you probably got to chuck Gaze in if you're doing it because it was
What?
second up 2,000 metres, Travolta last
Travolta.
You were
time.
declaring it.
Huh?
You were declaring it last start.
No, it wasn't. Ruda was declaring it.
He's saying to chuck it into your quaddie.
I'm saying
Yeah.
chuck it into the quaddie because it was second up to 2,000 last start. Now it goes
That went
2,100.
terrible,
So
didn't it, second up? That was disgraceful.
it just it went
Gaze
too
back
keen.
from holidays today.
She's back from holidays today. She's back.
The stable will
Strike
turn
rate,
around.
strike rate.
They reckon she might be coming in the
Like
office.
people
so-
say it's a generalisation, but her strike rate has been very, very bad in the last 3-4 weeks.
Just happens all the time.